Welcome back. In our previous discussion, we have discussed what are cells, solar cells especially. So, what is renewable energy, types of renewable energy, and solar energy. We have discussed especially solar energy, how to convert solar energy into usable form, isn't it? So, the devices used are PV cells. We have also seen the construction and working of PV cells, and we have seen the applications of PV cells, advantages of PV cells, and limitations of PV cells also. So even though the PV cells, I mean solar energy is available abundantly, it is not used in day-to-day life. So why they are not used? So because the solar cells are a bit costly. So why are they costly? So even though as we discussed, the solar cells are manufactured by silicon. So silicon is widely available on the earth crust, isn't it? Silicon is the element is available widely on the earth crust. Even though silicon is widely available, it is costly. Why it is costly? Because of the manufacturing process. So how this solar grade silicon is made, or the silicon which is used for PV cells is manufactured, let us discuss today. So the silicon used to manufacture PV cells are called as solar grade silicon. So we have two types. I mean, it is manufactured by different processes, and the process here used is which we discuss is called as unicarbide process. So the silicon used to manufacture synthesized PV cells are called as solar grade silicon, and it is synthesized by unicarbide process. So it is having two steps. The first step is manufacture of metallurgical grade silicon, and second step is conversion of metallurgical grade silicon to solar grade silicon. So metallurgical grade silicon, what do you mean by metallurgical grade silicon? So whatever silicon which you extract from the ore, it is called as metallurgical grade silicon. So through this silicon, we have two types of silicon. One is metallurgical grade silicon, other one is semiconductor grade silicon. So metallurgical grade silicon is the silicon which you obtain from the ore. So after the purification process, we have different process, right? Concentration of the ore, purification of the ore. So whatever you obtain, that is called as metallurgical grade silicon. That silicon contains high level of impurities. It will be in ppm level. Next, we have semiconductor grade silicon. The semiconductor grade silicon is used to manufacture semiconductors. That silicon cannot be used because it contains impurities in very low level. It will be in ppb level. So metallurgical grade silicon contains impurities in high level, whereas semiconductor grade silicon contains impurities in low level. Suppose to synthesize or manufacture a silicon which contains impurities in between metallurgical grade silicon and in less than metallurgical grade silicon and higher than semiconductor grade silicon. Such type of silicon is called as solar grade silicon. Okay, so let us see how to manufacture such type of silicon or solar grade silicon. The first step is manufacture of solar grade silicon. Excuse me. We're going to take silica or quartz in an electric arc furnace and heat it to a very high temperature, maybe 1500 to 1200 degrees Celsius. So what happens when you heat it to a very high temperature? The silica will decompose in the presence of carbon, and silica will be continuously withdrawn from the bottom of the furnace. And carbon monoxide will be liberated from the escape from the atmosphere. Thus obtained silicon will be in the molten state, in the liquid form. It may contain impurities such as aluminium or manganese or magnesium or calcium that should be removed. So that process is called as refining. Okay, the silicon obtained from the above process may contain what impurities such as aluminium or magnesium or calcium. Okay, so it will be mixed with fresh silica, and the respective metals will be removed as the respective oxides. If aluminium is present, it will be mixed with fresh silica, it will be removed as alumina. If magnesium is present, it will be removed as magnesium oxide. If calcium is present, it will be removed as calcium oxide. It is not necessary all the three should be present. If any one is present, it will be removed as its respective oxides by adding silica. All these oxide will separate in the form of slag. Thus obtained silicon here, it will be in the liquid state or molten state, and that molten silica is called as metallurgical grade silica. It is 98% pure. From this, we are going to convert or manufacture what are our solar grade silicon. So how to synthesize this solar grade silicon, we'll see. Thus obtained silicon, metallurgical grade silicon, are going to heat it with dry HCl at 300 degrees Celsius. When heated with dry HCl at 300 degrees Celsius, we get trichlorosilane. That is SiHCl3 is called as trichlorosilane, and along with that we get SiCl4, that is tetrachlorosilane, along with hydrogen. Hydrogen will escape into the atmosphere. So whatever tetrachlorosilane is obtained here, we are going to hydrogenate here. Hydrogenate, that is, we are going to supply hydrogen and heat it once again to 1000 degrees Celsius and convert this entire tetrachlorosilane to trichlorosilane. So our main purpose is we are supposed to get silicon, right? So next, what do we do is, thus obtained trichlorosilane will be passed into a columns containing ion exchange resin, where chlorine will be exchanged to hydrogen atoms. So the trichlorosilane will be converted to dichlorosilane, and dichlorosilane, finally we get silane here. So trichloro will become dichloro, and dichloro will finally will become silane here. So what do you mean by silane? SiH4 is called as silane. Our aim is to get solar grade silicon. Where did we end up? We end up in getting silane, SiH4. So we purify it. So how do you purify? You purify by distillation process. So whatever impurities is present, those impurities are removed by distillation process, and we get pure silane. But our aim is to get what? Silicon, solar grade silicon. But we ended up in getting silane. So how to get this silicon? So we are going to subject it to a process called as pyrolysis. So what is this pyrolysis? We are heating this silane to very high temperature. We are heating the silane to a very high temperature, where the bond between silicon and hydrogen breaks, giving you silicon and hydrogen. So thus obtained silicon is called as solar grade silicon, and this silicon can be used for manufacturing what? Solar cells or PV cells or photovoltaic cells. Thus obtained silicon is 99.9% pure, and this can be further purified by a process called as zone refining, by subjecting to a process called as zone refining. So let us see how to manufacture this solar grade silicon. A small process video for making a chip. Just have a look. This is
the
silicon
raw material chips are made of. Sand. It is made up of silicon dioxide. Silicon is the second most common element on the Earth's crust and only exists in bonded form.
You'll better understand
Complicated chemical and physical processes are needed to convert silicon into a crystalline form and make sure the crystals will meet all the requirements necessary for chip production. The final product is a monocrystalline silicon rod of highest purity. This means the rod has only one impurity atom for every 10 million silicon atoms. Silicon is a semiconductor. Its atomic structure looks like this. Each silicon atom has 4 outer electrons. There are no free charge carriers. The pure silicon monocrystal is non-conductive at room temperature.
The valence of silicon
to make
is also
it conductive, small quantities of specific impurity atoms such as phosphorus are built in. Phosphorus has 5 outer electrons. The 5th phosphorus electron built into each molecule of the silicon crystal lattice can move freely. Because of this structure, the silicon phosphorus crystal is negatively charged, or N-conductive.
N-type silicon.
Boron atoms, on the other hand,
We're
have only 3 outer electrons.
P-type silicon.
When they are built into the silicon lattice, 1 silicon electron is missing. This creates electron holes. They move through the crystal like positively charged electricity particles. The material is positively charged or P-conductive. The transistors in modern memory chips are constructed from P and N conductive layers such as these. Transistors are the smallest control units in the microchips. In the heart of an NMOS transistor, for example, we find P and N conductive layers of silicon crystals. An additional layer consists of silicon oxide and acts as an insulator. A layer of electrically conductive polysilicon is applied on top of it. Every transistor has 3 connections. The middle one is attached to the gate, the electrically conductive polysilicon. If we apply an electrical charge only to the 2 outer connections, electricity is unable to flow. The transistor is blocked. Things are different when an additional charge is attached to the middle connection. The electrons from the P layer now wander toward the middle connection and accumulate at the border area between the silicon crystal and the insulation gate oxide. A channel through which the electrons can flow is formed between the islands of N-conductive material. The electrical circuit is closed. The transistor can be switched back and forth between current off and current flow, that is to say, between 0 and 1. This binary system is the basis of electronic data processing.
The same process occurs in the PV cells. Okay. So thank you.